Section 1. Hook, I want to describe a feeling I think a lot of people watching this know exactly. You are not reckless with money. You are not blowing your paycheck on impulse purchases every weekend. You are not the person maxing out credit cards or going on shopping sprees that you regret. You are, by most reasonable definitions, responsible. You earn a salary. You set some aside each month. You tell yourself you are saving. And yet, when you look at your actual net worth, the actual number that represents what you own minus what you owe, it is barely moving. Maybe it goes up a little, then something happens, and it comes back down, then up again, then sideways. And the frustrating, disorienting reality is that you are doing the thing you were told to do, and it does not seem to be working. This is one of the most common financial experiences in America in 2026, and it is one of the least talked about because it sits in this uncomfortable middle zone between obvious failure and obvious success. It is not a crisis. Nobody is writing articles about it. But for millions of people, it is quietly killing their long-term financial trajectory while they assume everything is basically fine. Saving money is not the same as building wealth, and most people do not realize those are two different things until years have passed. And the gap between where they are and where they wanted to be is no longer ignorable. Today we are going to diagnose exactly why this happens, not with vague advice about spending less, with the actual specific mechanisms, 4 of them, that drain the wealth-building value out of savings that people are genuinely setting aside. I am going to show you the data behind each one, the math of what it is actually costing you, and the precise corrections that stop the leak. Let's start with the one that nobody sees coming, because it feels like progress. Section 2, Reason 1. Lifestyle inflation is absorbing every raise you get. Here's the single most effective wealth killer for people who are doing everything else right. You get a raise. Your income goes up by $3,000 a year, maybe $5,000, maybe more. And within 6 months, without making a single dramatic decision, your expenses have risen to match it. A nicer apartment, a newer car payment, more frequent dinners out because you can, a few extra subscriptions, a few more weekend trips. None of them feel extravagant in isolation. All of them feel earned. And collectively, they absorb the entire raise and leave your savings rate exactly where it was before. This is called lifestyle inflation. And the reason it is so dangerous is that it operates below the threshold of conscious decision-making. You do not sit down and decide to neutralize your raise. It happens gradually, automatically, through dozens of small upgrades that each feel reasonable on their own. By the time you notice the pattern, if you ever do, it has been happening for years. The data on this is striking. The U.S. personal savings rate in 2025 averaged approximately 4.6% of income, well below the historical average of 8.96% since 1959. And this is happening at a time when median incomes, in nominal terms, have been rising. Americans are earning more in raw dollar terms than they were 5 or 10 years ago, and they are saving a smaller share of it. The money is coming in. Lifestyle inflation is showing at the door. Let me show you what this costs in real wealth-building terms over a career. Take 2 people, both earning $70,000 at age 30. Person gets a $5,000 raise at 32 and absorbs it into lifestyle. Nicer apartment, upgraded car lease, more dining out. Their savings rate stays at 10%. Person B gets the same raise, keeps their lifestyle exactly the same, and directs the full $5,000 per year increase into their investment account. By age 55, 23 years later, Person B has invested an additional $115,000 in principal. At the historical S&P 500 average return of 10%, that extra principal grows to approximately $390,000. Person A and Person B started in the same place. They received the same raise. One is $390,000 richer in net worth. The mechanism that creates this gap is not discipline versus laziness. It is whether or not you have a system that captures income growth before lifestyle can absorb it. The most reliable system is a simple one. Every time your income increases, a raise, a bonus, a side income pickup, commit at least 50% of the net increase to savings or investments before the rest of your spending patterns have a chance to adjust. Not after you see how the new number feels. Before. The lifestyle adjustment happens on what remains. This is called the savings rate ratchet. Every income increase tightens the ratchet upward. Your standard of living can still improve, just not by the full amount of every raise. The gap between income growth and lifestyle growth is where net worth is built. Eliminate that gap and net worth stays flat regardless of how much you earn. Section 3. Reason 2. are sitting in the wrong place and losing value every year. This is the second reason net worth stagnates for people who are saving, and it is the one that a 2025 Vanguard National Survey called a startling blind spot affecting the majority of Americans. Here is what the Vanguard study found. Nearly 90% of Americans are currently saving or plan to save for short-term goals. That sounds like good news. But 60% of those people do not fully understand how interest rates impact their savings. And the result? 57% of Americans report that their savings are earning less than 3% interest, including 24%, nearly 1 in 4, earning less than 1%. Let me be specific about what that means in 2026. The FDIC's national average savings account rate at traditional brick-and-mortar banks is 0.39% APY. Inflation is currently running at approximately 2.7% annually. If your savings are sitting in a traditional bank savings account earning 0.39%, your money is losing purchasing power every single year. Not in a dramatic way, in a slow, silent, invisible way. But the math is real. On $20,000 sitting in a traditional savings account at 39%, you earn $78 per year in interest. The same $20,000 in a top-tier high-yield savings account, which in 2026 are paying 3.8% to 4.1% APY, earns $760 to $820 per year. That is a difference of nearly $750 per year on the same money, with the same level of safety, the same FDIC insurance, and the same liquidity. Over 5 years, that gap compounds. The traditional account grows from $20,000 to approximately $20,390. The high-yield account grows to approximately $24,200. You have made $3,810 more on the same dollars, with zero additional risk and zero lifestyle change. The only thing that changed is where the account lives. And this same problem extends to emergency funds, short-term savings goals, and any cash that people are holding while they figure out what to do with it. All of it sitting idle at the wrong rate is a slow drag on net worth that compounds year after year into a number most people would find genuinely upsetting if they ever calculated it directly. The fix is simple and takes approximately 20 minutes. Open a high-yield savings account at an online bank. Marcus by Goldman Sachs, Ally, SoFi, and Discover are among the most consistently competitive in 2026. Transfer your idle cash there. Set up automatic deposits for any new savings going forward. That account should be your default savings destination for everything, except money actively deployed in investments. Now let me address the second version of this problem, which is more expensive than idle cash in a low-yield account and more common than people realize. Cash sitting outside the market when it should be in it. Beyond emergency funds and short-term savings, a significant number of people have money that is functionally long-term savings. Money they do not plan to touch for 5, 10, or 20 years, sitting in savings accounts or checking accounts rather than invested in the market. Sometimes this is because investing feels complicated. Sometimes it is because the stock market has felt volatile and cash feels safe. Sometimes it is simply inertia. The opportunity cost of this is enormous. $100,000 sitting in a savings account earning 4% over 20 years grows to approximately $219,000. The same $100,000 invested in an S&P 500 index fund at the historical 10% average annual return grows to approximately $673,000 over 20 years. That is a gap of $454,000 from the same starting amount. The difference between those two outcomes is not market timing or stock picking. It is simply whether the money is in the right vehicle for its time horizon. The principle: money you will not need for more than 5 years belongs in the market. Money you might need within the next 2 years belongs in a high-yield savings account or short-term CD. Money you will need in 2 to 5 years belongs in a mix: conservative investments or CDs for the longer portion, liquid savings for the nearer portion. Applying the right vehicle to the right time horizon is one of the highest return decisions available to any investor, and most people never make it consciously. Section 4. Reason 3. Monthly leaks draining the system faster than savings can fill it. The third reason net worth stagnates while savings appear to be happening is that most households have a collection of ongoing financial drains that consume the savings before it can compound into real wealth. These are not the obvious budget categories. They are the ones that hide in autopay, in recurring bills, in habits that became invisible because they never quite reached the pain threshold that forces a review. The Subscription Drain A 2026 survey by CA+R Research found the average American spends $219 per month on subscriptions. streaming services, software, apps, delivery memberships, fitness platforms, news subscriptions, and dozens of smaller recurring charges. When asked to estimate their own subscription spending, the average person guessed $86 per month. That is a 2.5 times underestimate. The money is leaving the account quietly. Most people do not know the exact total until they sit down and count every line. $219 per month is $2,628 per year. Invested at 10% average return over 20 years. That is approximately $166,000 in compounding wealth that instead purchased, for many people, streaming services they used occasionally and apps they forgot about. The math is not about judging the individual subscription. It is about the cumulative total and whether the aggregate value delivered justifies the aggregate cost. The insurance and service overpayment drain car insurance, home or renter's insurance, cell phone plans, internet service, and recurring service subscriptions are categories most people set up once and never revisit. The company that had the best rate 2 years ago may not have the best rate today. And unlike subscriptions that require active use to feel valuable, these services run in the background, whether you engage with them or not. A Consumer Reports study found that drivers who shop their auto insurance annually saved an average of $461 per year compared to those who let the policy auto-renew without comparison shopping. Cell phone plans have become dramatically more competitive in recent years. Many people paying $80 to $100 per month for a single line could switch to a comparable plan for $35 to $50. Internet providers regularly offer new customer rates to retain customers who call to cancel. These are not small amounts. Together, they can easily represent $600 to $2,200 per year in unnecessary spending. Money that feels like a fixed cost but is actually a negotiable one. Section 5, Reason 4. Saving without an investment system is just treading water. The fourth and final reason net worth stagnates for people who are saving is the most fundamental one. And it is this: saving money puts you in place. Investing money moves you forward. And most people are doing the first without systematically doing the second. Saving, putting money in a checking account, a savings account, or a money market, preserves what you have. It protects it from immediate loss. It provides liquidity and stability. These are real and important functions, but saving does not compound in a meaningful way. At 4% in a high-yield savings account, money doubles roughly every 18 years. At 10% in an S&P 500 index fund, money doubles roughly every 7.2 years. The difference between those two doubling timelines across a full working career is not marginal. It is the entire story of whether you retire with financial freedom or financial constraint. The U.S. personal savings rate in 2025 was approximately 4.6% of income, but the savings rate and the investment rate are not the same number for most Americans. Significant portion of what people put into savings accounts is not being redirected into investment accounts. It is accumulating in savings vehicles that cannot generate the compounding returns needed for meaningful long-term wealth growth. The data on what actually happens when people invest is unambiguous. Gen Z, the generation currently building their financial habits, is seeing 401k balances grow faster in percentage terms than any other generation, according to Empower 2025 data. Millennials who are maximizing retirement contributions are seeing net worth rise meaningfully year over year, even when their nominal savings in checking and savings accounts are modest. The pattern is consistent. People who route savings into investment vehicles build net worth. People who accumulate savings in bank accounts without investing it build a larger savings balance, but not a larger net worth in the same way. The investment system that actually works here is the sequence that converts saving into genuine net worth growth. It is not complicated. The challenge is not understanding it. The challenge is implementing it consistently and automatically so it does not require monthly willpower to maintain. The first priority is your employer's 401k match. If your employer matches your contributions up to a certain percentage, contribute at least enough to capture the full match. This is a 50% to 100% instant return on every dollar contributed, the highest guaranteed return available anywhere. Not capturing this match is the equivalent of voluntarily leaving salary on the table. The second priority is a Roth IRA. In 2026, the annual contribution limit is $7,000, $583 per month. Inside the Roth IRA, invest in a low-cost index fund, an S&P 500 fund, or a total market fund with an expense ratio below 0.10%. The Roth grows completely tax-free. You pay taxes on the money going in and never again on the growth or the withdrawals. For most Americans in the 22% federal bracket or below, the Roth IRA is the single most powerful wealth-building tool available, and most people are either not using it or not maximizing it. The third priority is returning to the 401k and increasing contributions beyond the match, working toward the annual maximum of $23,500 in 2026 if your budget supports it. If you have maxed both the Roth IRA and the 401k and still have money to invest, a taxable brokerage account in the same low-cost index funds is the next vehicle. The automation principle applies here exactly as it does to savings. Set up automatic monthly contributions to these accounts on payday, not after bills, not with what is left over, on payday as the first transaction. The investment happens before the spending, and the lifestyle adjusts to what remains. This single structural decision, automation on payday, is the mechanism that separates people who consistently build wealth from people who intend to, but find the money, has already moved on by the time they think about investing. Section 6, the net worth audit. The 30-minute exercise that changes everything we have covered today. Lifestyle inflation, idle cash, hidden leaks, and missing investment systems can be diagnosed and addressed in a single focused session. I call it a net worth audit. Here is exactly how to run it. Start by calculating your current net worth. List everything you own: checking balance, savings balance, investment accounts, retirement accounts, and any other assets. Then list everything you owe: credit card balances, student loans, car loans, any other liabilities. Subtract liabilities from assets. That number is your net worth today. Write it down, date it. This is your baseline. You cannot track progress without a starting point. Next, look at where your savings are sitting. If any meaningful amount of cash is in a traditional savings account earning below 1%, that is an idle cash problem. Move it to a high-yield savings account this week. If you have money you will not need for more than 5 years sitting in a savings account rather than invested, that is an investment system problem. Start the process of opening an IRA or increasing your 401k contribution. Then run your subscription audit. Pull up 3 months of bank and credit card statements. Write down every recurring charge. Categorize each one: actively using and worth it, occasionally using and borderline, not using at all. Cancel the third category immediately. Review the second category honestly. The goal is not 0 subscriptions. The goal is 0 subscriptions you are not consciously choosing to keep. Then check your high-interest debt. If you are carrying any balance at above 10% interest, that is a leak that is working against every dollar you save. Calculate the monthly interest charge. That number is what your savings are fighting against. Make eliminating that debt the savings priority above all others until it is gone. Finally, check your savings rate ratchet. Look at your income today versus 12 months ago. If your income has risen and your investment contributions have not risen proportionally, lifestyle inflation has been absorbing the difference. Identify the new amount and redirect at least half of any income increase to savings and investments before your lifestyle has a chance to adjust to the new number. Run this audit today. Run it again in 6 months. The net worth number you write down today and the number you write down in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, that trajectory is what this exercise is building, not a savings balance. An actual net worth that compounds, grows, and eventually becomes the financial security that most people spend their entire lives working toward without ever quite arriving. Section 7. Recap plus call to action. Let's close with the full picture in under a minute. If you are saving but your net worth is barely moving, one or more of these 4 things is happening. Lifestyle inflation is absorbing every raise before it can compound. Your savings are sitting idle in the wrong account and losing purchasing power to inflation every year. Hidden monthly leaks, subscriptions, credit card interest, insurance overpayments are draining the system faster than savings can fill it. And saving without an investment system means you are preserving money rather than growing it. The corrections are not dramatic. Move idle cash to a high-yield savings account. Implement the savings rate ratchet. Capture half of every income increase before lifestyle absorbs it. Run your subscription audit and seal the leaks. And set up automatic investment contributions to your 401k and Roth IRA on payday so the system runs without requiring monthly willpower. Your one action from this video: calculate your net worth right now. Assets minus liabilities. Write the number down. Date it. That is the number we are moving. Everything else in this video is the mechanism for moving it. Drop your biggest takeaway in the comments. Which of the four reasons felt most like your situation? I read every single comment, and I want to know which one hit closest to home. If this video helped you understand something that has been frustrating you for years, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for a new personal finance video every week. See you in the next one.